What was that? You took your time because you were milking the applause there.
I was loving it.
You're absolutely loving it. Isn't this great? We've got this big audience. I think we should go full Jerry Springer tonight.
Yeah.
And start throwing chairs and having a punch-up, you know?
Has anyone had sex with their own sister?
Josh.
She is fit.
How are you anyway? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you, people turning up. This is great, isn't it?
Are you enjoying the Battle of Ideas?
Yes and no.
Okay.
You've got to, like, the whole time you've got to sound intelligent.
Yeah.
That's quite tough. But I'm enjoying all the little stalls. I got a great stall. Some of them I don't really understand, some of the causes. There's one here, stop facial. And I'm like, why would you want to get, oh no, recognition. Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Got to read the whole
Yeah, okay,
slogan.
that makes more sense now, that one, yeah.
Okay. How about you, Leo?
Yeah, Battle of Ideas. I don't know, I've been at a lot of battle things. I went to Battle of Monster Trucks. This is different. This is more talking.
I imagine you're there is more talking going on here, but I imagine you're the sort of person who goes to those sort of medieval reenactment battles.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I'm old enough to remember some of those battles.
Well, anyway, here we are, and it's delightful to have this wonderful audience here. And some of you have got some questions, and we're going to do our best to field them. That's what the Battle of Ideas is all about. It's about discussion. So, who have we got first? Becca, I believe, has a question.
Is Keir Starmer right to have removed a portrait of William Shakespeare from No. 10?
So this is the latest. So Keir Starmer's been on a bit of a purge in Downing Street, and he got rid of the picture of Margaret Thatcher because I think he said it was creeping him out. And then he also got rid of Gladstone. I believe he got rid of Elizabeth I. You know how scary she is. And now he's gone for Shakespeare. What do you think's going on there, Leo?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a man who hates Britain and everything British. I mean, what possible reason? I can understand, Margaret Thatcher. He wouldn't want a portrait of Margaret Thatcher because she might remind him what a successful politician looks like. Somebody who led Britain out of economic turmoil instead of into it. But yeah, Shakespeare, I mean, surely he's a completely uncontroversial figure. Out of all the, I understand there's some controversy attached to Winston Churchill and, other people because, if you judge them by the standards of a gender studies professor in 2024, they didn't have the absolute correct Guardian opinions. But William Shakespeare, I mean, he even led on the trans stuff. You had boys dressed up as girls in his plays. So, I mean, surely he was a pioneer for that stuff.
A great pioneer of gender identity. Do you think that's true?
Well, I mean, the thing is, a lot of people don't know this about William Shakespeare, but he was a Tory. And so I think it's this purge of from there.
But what's going on? But a lot of people accused him of misogyny. A lot of people said that he didn't like Margaret Thatcher being there because she was a woman. But I think it was because it was Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, that would make sense. But what I don't know is who is he going to replace him with? We don't have. I mean, maybe I'll put a picture of you up.
Yeah, I hope so.
Anybody's read your book? It's brilliant. I've heard.
You haven't read my book.
I haven't read your book, but
I gave him a copy of my book like 9 months ago. He still hasn't read it.
No, it's 3 years ago.
Was it 3 years ago?
It's 3 years ago. It's really good. The first bit.
The blurb is good.
The blurb is really
the bit
good.
I didn't write.
Yeah, no, it's a real problem. I mean, Winston Churchill would be great. Yeah, but William Shakespeare, it doesn't get sort of more iconic than that.
I mean, I get really uptight about the whole William Shakespeare thing because there's lots of people who say he's just some dead white male, we shouldn't even be studying him. And Keir Starmer should be countering that, shouldn't he? He should be saying, this is the best writer we've ever produced, let's try and emulate him.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he's taught, I think he's still in the curriculum in every school. I think maybe perhaps, Diane Abbott might have complained because the name Shakespeare is offensive to Zulu tribesmen who also like to shake a spear.
You think that's what it was, yeah. Interesting, okay. Well, we hope we answered that for you, Becca, in a very sensible and mature way. Wonderful audience, so let's get some more questions. Let's start with Jen. Do we have Jen?
I'm here.
Hello, Jen.
Hi, hello everyone. My question is, this week we've had a lady who's been convicted for a tweet, sentenced to 2.5 years in prison, yet not so long ago we were releasing criminals to free up space in the prisons, most of which seem to have been rearrested. So it's really, do we think that sentence is disproportionate, and is there some bias in the judicial system at the moment?
So this is Lucy Connelly, who was sentenced to 31 months in prison for a tweet. Now, Jen, it was a very offensive tweet. She was talking about, setting fire to hotels, attacking migrants, that kind of thing. And this was in the wake of the Southport stabbing, and there was lots of false information going around about asylum seekers. So would you say that even though the tweet was horrible, this doesn't justify the custodial term?
It was ill-advised, admittedly, but you've got people who are committing crimes against children, for example, that aren't getting sentenced, and I think it's very skewed and disproportionate. And where do we draw the line? At what point in time? What tweets are liable for prison sentences? Could it be less minor? Could it be more? It's just a tricky balance, I think.
It's a very interesting point, Leo. I mean, this Lucy Connelly case, I think everyone agrees that the tweet was horrible, the tweet was ill-judged.
Yeah.
But this is a mother without a criminal record, and now she's going to be in prison for almost 3 years. I mean, doesn't seem right, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't seem right. And I think when you talk about a two-tier justice system, even though Keir Starmer denies that it exists, I mean, it's blatantly, obviously there. I mean, when you ask, what's the grounds for being sent to prison for a tweet? It really depends if you're married to a Tory councillor or not. It depends, what side of the divide you're on, because we've seen Labour politicians scream for people's throats to be cut and not remanded in custody. We've seen government advisors say that, spread malicious, dangerous rumours that acid's being thrown at Muslim women that, clearly incited some people. And they don't even get their collar felt. So, yeah, Lucy Connelly, and another aggravating factor in the Lucy Connelly thing that, should have maybe been taken into consideration is the fact that she lost a child. She lost a 19-month-old child about a decade ago to a foreign doctor. So, from her point of view, she sees mass immigration as being culpable in the death of her child. I mean, that's a hugely traumatic thing. Whether she's, obviously, I don't agree with that sort of reading of things, but you can see how that would affect somebody's emotions and how somebody, might...
Sure. I mean, my view is that I don't think it's actually relevant why someone does the things they do or why they say the things they say. My bottom line is I don't think the state should be locking people up for what they choose to say.
Yeah.
They talk about incitement to violence, but there has to be a very high threshold there. You would have to be able to prove that what she tweeted actually caused someone to commit an act of violence. I think that's firstly impossible to prove and almost certainly not true in that case.
Yeah, and she's a childminder, so people might look to her for advice on nappy rash. But, I think a tweet that she put up and quickly deleted, I don't think, there were people with their earpieces in being like, oh, wait, this childminder said we should burn down hotels. Right. Let's go and do it.
See, that's the issue. And it's possible to have this stance without approving of what she said. This is the strange thing. Now, Keir Starmer, Josh, says there is no two-tier justice system at all. That's just a myth. It's not real. Do you think that's right?
No, it's self-evident. I mean, you cannot open social media without seeing these insane examples. You can see paedophiles getting away with child pornography. Suspended sentences. You see two men beating up police women and breaking their faces. They're not. Have they been charged? No, it's mental. And people can see it, by the way. So Keir Starmer can say as much as he wants, no, there's no two-tier. And the Guardian can say the far-right conspiracy of two-tieredness and all of that stuff.
Yes.
But people aren't stupid.
Yes.
And it's maddening, and it's this gaslighting that we've had for the last 10 years or so, and this is the next level of it.
So it's interesting. So, well, yeah.
Yeah! Woohoo!
Don't applaud him. He'll think he's intelligent. Don't do it. Yeah, but this is a very interesting case because a lot of people say, well, if you spread misinformation, if you spread things that are not true and that they can stir up hate against certain minority groups, that should be punishable by prison. But I would remind people that the BBC did put out a story claiming that the IDF were targeting medics in a hospital in Gaza, which was completely false. They did apologise, admit the mistake and retract it, but they'd put out something that was pandering to anti-Semitic conspiracy theories that could well have stirred up hatred. But no one, I believe, at the BBC has been arrested for that as yet.
No, and actually Jeremy Bowen, his report going out that 500 people were killed in a hospital, which wasn't true, that was a missile actually from Islamic Jihad.
People
there were
made mistakes,
synagogues, I should know the difference. synagogues are satellite across the world. So there is a case that led to actual actionable violence. Yet Jeremy Bowen's like, oh no, I don't regret that.
But like I said, people make mistakes in reporting, and they should have the right to retract and not go to prison for it.
No, he should go to prison.
He should go to prison, right?
Yeah,
Okay, fine. But surely, when it comes to some childminder tweeting, that worries me less than actually something the BBC puts out.
Of course. I mean, it's the absolute hypocrisy that we've seen, and that is the core of it all. It's just like you're going to apply it to everyone or apply it to no one, but at least be consistent.
Let's move on to a question from Jill. Where are you, Jill? Hello.
Hi. Do you think we'll ever get the gender indoctrination out of schooling along with the diversity, which is kind of doing the opposite of what it says?
Yeah.
Has that fight been put back with Labour being in charge now? Or are we on track to try and get it out of our education system all round?
How do you feel about it, Jill?
I think we're going to be going backwards for a few years at the moment.
Yeah.
But we won't give up the fight.
Well, a lot of people say that, don't they? But to be fair, a lot of the worst excesses of the EDI industry and the gender identity ideology in the country, not just in schools, but in all major institutions, all of that was presided over by the Tories. It came in with the Tories, didn't it? So, it looks as though whoever you vote for is not going to go away.
Yeah, but I think Labour are going to push it forward faster. I mean, you can see in Scotland, where you've got the Scottish National Party, who are a sort of progressive leftist party, same as Labour. I mean, I don't think there's a child left untransitioned in Scotland. It's kind of hard to tell because so many people wear kilts. And also, I don't know if you've been to Dundee, but it is kind of hard to tell who's a woman and who's a lumberjack. But yeah, I think, the right really took their eye off the ball.
Yeah,
and
they did.
With everything, not just gender transitioning. They took their eye off the ball with everything. But I remember when I was at school, all these sort of crazes went through the school. Like there was a craze for mullets, there was a craze for double denim, and now there's a craze for sterilising yourself and having your genitals removed. And I think it's going to be, in 10 years' time, people are going to be like, it's easy for me to grow my mullet out, but it's kind of harder to grow a penis out. So there's going to be a lot of ill feeling. There's going to be a lot of claims against the NHS.
Well, you make a compelling argument. I mean, Labour, I know you consider yourself on the left and you're a fan, a bit of a fan of Keir Starmer, but...
No longer.
No longer, okay, right, no longer. But would you accept, though, that we are, that they are accelerating the problem? And they're talking now about definitely implementing a ban on trans conversion therapy, which is effectively a support of gay conversion therapy on the NHS, because they don't understand the issues, right?
But going back to the issue of school, I'm despondent because I've got kids of that age who are going through that system, and I have seen them be brainwashed. These external groups coming in, saying to my 9-year-old, okay, what pronouns are you? And then me having to go to the headmaster, having to explain the entirety of gender ideology.
Do they not understand it?
No, they don't, because they trust in these. Hey, this is a good group.
We've heard Stonewall or something.
Stonewall, like there's a Jewish organisation that goes in, like a Jewish version of Stonewall called Keshet UK. They have gone on, they have taught some of this stuff. They arguably teach gender ideology. They would say that they don't, but my kids have come back from these sessions going, oh, there's 100 sexes and whatever. But that's come from somewhere.
Yes.
Not only that, in my synagogue, my son, 12-year-old, he's meant to go in there to be brainwashed about Judaism.
Yeah. He's getting the wrong kind of brainwashing.
He's getting the wrong brainwashing
yeah, it's
here.
not right.
He's coming back and he's watched some trans lecture and they're talking again about the 100 different genders and this and that. And I have been arguing with the synagogue, with the board for like 6 months. And I thought when the Cass report came out, I sent an email. I was like, look at this, the Cass, here it is, 400 pages, proof. And they were like, immediately, no, well, some people say not. And what?
Yeah.
Once that, they just cannot handle that they were wrong.
Well, as you know, the Cass report has been widely discredited by screaming blue-haired activists. So,
Yeah, but those screaming blue-haired, they go up to the guy I'm arguing with is a Tory voter in his 60s.
Yeah.
So it's so upsetting, and I feel like I was hoping that it would right itself.
Yeah.
And it's not. And it's going to actually have to take people on the ground, going into their schools and having these meetings and being pushing it. If all of you could do that, that would be great, because I'm just too busy.
Right, well,